guys, welcome back again for another review. So today I have a polish collection that was released last year. This is the Essie Gel Couture Winter Collection. It's the Fashion Freedom Collection. Didn't quite get to it in December, but I'm getting to it now. And it's got a lot of good polishes in here. This collection is available now at Beyond Polish. You can use my code, like always, GOLARI10. And if you've watched for a while, you know the details about that. I'll put a link to all the polishes down below or to the main collection. And you can find it there. It's a great place to get polish, and that is an affiliate link. I have quite a few comparisons for all of these because I would say they're not like super original, but I would say about half of them have a slight shimmer in them, which a lot of Essie Gel Couture polishes do. They have like this subtle shimmer in them that's really pretty. You can't really notice it too much except when you're in bright light. It really just does make them a little bit unique compared to these other ones, but hopefully these comparisons, as you look at them, will help you know exactly what type of polish it is and what it really compares to in other brands as well as in the Essie brand. I enjoy every single color in here, but I'm curious to see what you guys are going to think about this collection. I love the Essie Gel Couture line. It is my favorite nail polish line. I need to wear more of them. I always say, but I feel like I need to wear more polish in general. I can't quite get to it because I paint my nails so often. It's just a really great line. I always have questions if these have to be cured. No, this is a non-cured gel. So it's like a longer lasting lacquer. You do not need a light to cure this, but it does last really long. I've done wear tests on this before. It's been a while since I've done it, but I got a good 8 to 10 days out of wearing these. I do really like their Essie Gel Couture top coat as well. I use it probably 90% of the time when I wear these. Today I am wearing one of the polishes and I have my favorite top coat, which is Glisten and Glow top coat. I'll put a link down to that below because I always get asked about that too, and it is always the topper on top of my nails. But I like both of those top coats, but I really do think you're gonna get a little bit longer wear using either my favorite Glisten and Glow or the Essie Gel Couture top coat. It just works really great. You don't necessarily need a base coat. Today I do have a base coat just because I like to wear one most of the time. Since we're talking about it, I'll just bring up my favorite. My favorite is C&D Sticky Base Coat, and I'll put a link down to that below just so you are aware too. Let's talk about the colors. This first one is tassel free, and there are a lot of colors like this, but I love colors like this. So this is like a gray, brown, purple color. So basically a taupe. But it does have that beautiful soft shimmer underneath it, which gives it a really nice glow. I've noticed, especially when I wore Transition Piece, which is one of my favorites from last year, that under artificial light, it really has a really nice glow. For some reason, that polish really stands out quite a bit. I haven't had a chance to see this one in artificial light when you're shopping and stuff. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it just really glows on the nail, and that's hard to translate in just a photograph of it. So I think that's what sets this apart from others that are like this, because there's quite a few, is that it has that subtle shimmer in it. So this has a really nice formula. It is a little bit crelly-ish, which I like, so it does allow those kind of shimmery pieces to kind of filter through. It's going to build up in 3 coats. I think you could probably get away with 2 thicker coats, but I don't know. I just like doing 3 thinner, so that's what I did for this one when I applied it on my nails today, and it's just a really fun, nice neutral. I love taupe colors. So let's look into those comparisons so you can see them. These are all very close. They will have slight differences that I'll mention, but I mean, keep that in mind. These are super close, but I do like to point out the slight differences for those that are really wanting to know how different they are. So the first one we have is Master Plan. It's super close, but it's maybe a little bit more brown. And then Phone Sweet Phone is very close, just a little bit more purple. And Take It Outside is also very close, but it is a little bit more tan leaning. And then we have Topeless Beach. That one is really, really close to this. And of course it does not have that little shimmer in it. And then Peace of Mind from OPI, which was one of my favorites from this last year as well, is very close too. So I knew that's why I liked this one, because obviously I gravitate toward these neutral taupe colors. Olive and June Rainy Day Walk is a little bit lighter. That should be helpful for you. This is basically Topeless Beach with a little bit of shimmer in it. That's not super noticeable, but just gives it a little bit of depth. And I love it. This next one is Colt Loose, and it's this beautiful kind of cornflower blue. It's a little bit cooler toned. It has an amazing formula. It's pretty much opaque in 1 coat, but I think with 2 you build that color up a little bit more, and it just looks a little better. So I would definitely do 2 with this one. Like I always say, I always do 2 anyway, just because it looks better. This is beautiful. Have we seen it before? There's been quite a bit of these blues released before, and maybe I should say this one came before the one that I I'm talking about. So I just reviewed the Unguilty Pleasures collection, and I believe this one was probably released before that one. I just posted it first, so really this one came first, but those are pretty close, you'll see. And I knew that's why I liked this one so much. It's so beautiful. I love these types of blues that are a little bit more gray leaning. They're just so fun to wear in the fall and winter. Okay, let's look at those. So here's that one I was talking about. It's called To Me From Me, and it's a touch cooler, but they're very close. So if you love that polish and you love the Essie Gel Couture line, this is definitely one you want to get. I think you'd be happy with either one, honestly. And then Anchor Down is darker and it's more navy leaning, and then Amuse Me is a lighter blue. I thought I would get asked about those. And then next comparison is Showroom for One, Essie Gel Couture, and that one's a little bit more purple leaning, a little bit more gray purple. And same with Tailored for You, which was my very #1 polish from last year. Love that one so much. So I feel like this is maybe just a little bit darker version of that. Well, I mean, they're a little bit different because Tailored for You is kind of more of a purple gray, but I love both of these. And then Flare for Fun is a little bit of a lighter, slightly brighter blue, so a little bit different. This one had quite a few that were kind of close, but I'm glad to have this addition in the Essie Gel Couture line. Woven at Heart is this next one, and it's a beautiful terracotta, I would say mauve. So it has a little bit more pink in it. Really like the looks of terracotta polishes, but I don't usually wear them too often. Once in a while I do. I was trying to decide if I should wear this one or this one, and I kind of feel like this felt more appropriate for like a fall color, and I just wasn't in the mood for it, so I went for this taupe color. But I love this one, and it also does have that little bit of shimmer in it, which is so nice. The formula on this one's really fantastic too. It's going to build up really, really nicely in 2 coats. I think you can see that shimmer. I feel like because this color's a little bit darker, you can see that shimmer just a little bit more than you can with the taupe one. And it reminded me of a couple OPI colors. And as I did these comparisons, I realized that I like this better than any of them that I compared them to. So that made me super excited. I really, really enjoy this one. Okay, let's look at those right now. So I compared it to Gouda Gouda 2 Shoots. I thought it would be pretty close to that one. And that's a softer shade. It definitely has a little bit more shimmer, and it leans maybe a little bit more brown. My doodle, I thought for sure it was going to be like the exact color tone. Of course, that does not have any shimmer, but that one's warmer and more rich, and this shade is Ornamental. Really had the same color tone, but it did have that pinkish tint to it from the shimmer at certain angles. So obviously it's a little bit different than that one, but that's a really fun shade. And then my Solar Clock is Ticking is more red toned, and Rocky Rose was definitely more orange. And that's the one I was surprised by because I really love Rocky Rose. But when I look at it next to Woven at Heart, I really like Woven at Heart a little bit better, and maybe it's just on my skin tone, but I like that it's a little pinkier instead of orange. And then Style Evolution is a darker terracotta, but it does have that slight shimmer that they do in some Essie Gel Couture polishes. So I think that's what's fun about the comparisons, and I've heard you guys say this too, that when looking at it, it makes you realize that you like other polishes better. So maybe you don't like this one, but then you look at something and go, oh, that's the one that I want. So hopefully that's helpful for you too. It was helpful to me in knowing that I kind of like this one better than all those other ones, and if I'm going to reach for a terracotta shade, it's definitely going to be this terracotta mauve. Next we have Invest in Style, and it's a green. You know I love greens. How many greens can we have? We can have a lot, and we can have this one too because it is slightly different than the other ones that we have. It is beautiful. It has quite a bit of white in the base, but it's still kind of mid-tone color. It does not have any shimmer in it, I don't think. Yeah. I've looked a couple times, but I cannot see any in there. And like I said, the shimmer is so subtle, sometimes it's hard to see, but this one doesn't. It's just a straight up cream. And I love it. It's so perfect for spring. Like that's when I'm going to be excited to wear this one. So this one does lean a little bit cooler, but it's not as cool as some of the other ones that you're going to think of when you see this one. We'll look at those. So the formula on this one is really, really great. It's going to be opaque in 2 coats. It's just so nice. Let's look at those. So rated PG, I thought for sure it was going to be exactly like this, and that one's lighter and a touch warmer. I feel like they're pretty close though, if I remember right, but the color tone's just a little bit different. And then Off Tropic is darker and a little bit cooler. So Invest in Style is quite a bit more muted. It has a little bit more white in the base, but I feel like it's kind of closely related to Off Tropic. I think that's why I like it so much, and I was glad to see that it's different than these because I just wanted it to be different. I didn't want it to be the same as anything else that I had that I loved. And then Gel Couture Autumn Allure, which just came out, is darker and has more gray undertones. That is a really great polish too. In fact, all these greens are fantastic. You guys know I love them. And then Stay Off the Lawn is pretty much exact. That was the one where I was like, ooh, this is pretty close. It's maybe a touch darker if we're being super investigative, but it's very close to that one. And that is a really great polish, obviously. And then my Studios on Spring is cooler toned, as well as Lucite of Reality, which is a little bit darker, I believe, and maybe even has a little bit more blue in it. Hopefully those are helpful for you in deciding if you need it. You might not need it because it is pretty close to Stay Off the Lawn, but I just love it, and I'm glad to have it in this formula because I love this formula so much. Yay. Wilder Than I Seem is this next one. I don't know how they keep coming up with all these different names, but I think it's so fun. This is like something you've probably seen before. Or is it? Let's look at it. There are a lot of polishes like this, and especially Essie has quite a few. So I have quite a few of comparisons. I think this is the first collection I've had in a long time that every polish I had 2 comparisons for, but I love shades like this. And every time I put them on, I'm like, oh, this is my new favorite. This is my new favorite. This one's really good, and it has quite a bit of white in the base too, so it is a little bit different than some of the ones that you're gonna look at. This has an amazing formula. It's gonna build up really nice in 2 coats, and again, it's gonna be more of a richer color with that second coat, so you're definitely gonna wanna do 2 coats with this one. Okay, let's talk about those comparisons because I know that's what you're gonna wanna see. Swoon in the Lagoon. Oh, you guys, this polish is so good. I had kind of forgot about that one. I feel bad because I would have added that one probably to my top 5 or 6, so just keep that in mind. That is such a good one. It's got a beautiful brightness to it, but it is kind of a close color tone to Wilder Than I Seem. Wilder Than I Seem is a touch more muted, and then Big Spender is richer, and then I wanted to see how it compared to Flowerista. That one has more purple, and this was the first polish like this that made me fall in love with colors like this. This has a fantastic formula. It was my #1 Essie polish for a long time. I can't say that it still is now. Sure about that. I need to think about that, but it is so good. And then Harajuku, get this color, is pretty close. Maybe a touch darker and a little bit less muted, but it's kind of similar. The formulas are quite different though. That it has more of kind of a sheerish formula. And then Phil and Berry Glam is darker and richer, and it doesn't have as much white in the base. And Spare Me a French Quarter has a more reddish hue. Hopefully that's helpful. It's interesting. Like I always say, I just can't find anything that's exact, but yeah, there's a lot of polishes like this. If you don't have anything and you're starting out, or you just want to start out with this line and want to grab a color like this, then do it, because this is a really great one that you won't want to miss if you don't have any like this. So are you gonna get it? Let me know if you're gonna get it. I'll be curious to know. This last one is Put in the Patchwork. So cute. And colors like this are so interesting to me. At first I thought it was a brick red, but then I could see the raspberry in it, and it's slightly muted because it has some white in the base, and it does have a little bit of a raspberry feel to it too. So pulling comparisons for this one was really hard for me, and it's kind of a red, and red comparisons are so hard. You guys do not know how hard it is. So there's a million you might think would be really close to this by just looking at it, and that's the challenging part of doing comparisons, because people are always like, why didn't you compare this one or this one? Because I know, because I have them right next to each other, they're not really close, even though you think they are. But we'll look at those closer soon. So it's a beautiful kind of raisin color that leans a little bit more raspberry. And maybe I'm missing one that I didn't compare it to, and you guys can let me know in the comments down below, and maybe I'll try to do it in stories. But anyway, the formula on this one is really great. It builds up in one pretty coat. I would say 1 coat. Is that what I wrote? I said 2 coats, so maybe it does have, maybe it is just kind of slightly sheer. Nah, it's pretty opaque, but anyway, it's got a great formula. 2 coats on this one. I didn't really want to take this one off. So nice. Okay, let's look at those. So I compared it to Nailed It. I feel like Put in the Patchwork is a slightly muted version of Nailed It, because Nailed It's a little bit brighter, but they're kind of a similar color tone. And then Mocking Me Happy is a more berry red, and Hear Me Aurora is more like a maroon red. So I don't know, I couldn't find any Essies. Maybe I'll look and add more if I find more, because sometimes when I look and come back like in the next day, I find something that I feel is close to it when I didn't think was. So maybe I'll do that. But then it totally reminded me of OPI We the Female, and it's closest to this. I feel like We the Female is a touch more red though, but that's the closest that I could find. If you love that polish, love Essie, this is a good one to get for that. And I really thought it was going to be close to Malaga Wine, and that was more rich and a little bit more red. And then Ginger's Revenge is quite a bit more red, and so it's just so hard. I can't explain to you guys, but I love it. I thought it was just a brick red, and I'm kind of glad that it's kind of like a brick red with raspberry that's more muted. So it's perfect for this time of year. I think you'll like it. Okay, so let's pick my favorites. This is kind of tricky because I love all these polishes, but I do kind of feel like they are pretty close to what they already have. So I have to think about how I would pick my favorites for this one. Am I going to pick them because they're my favorites for the Essie Gel Couture line, which is probably how I should pick them, and that's how I think I am going to pick them. Why do I make this so hard? I'm definitely going to pick this one because I love it when I get surprised by something, and I think I really will wear this one. And I think I'll pick the green, of course, because it is slightly different, and I love the Gel Couture line. And I do like that this has some shimmer in it, which makes it stand out just a little bit. I have to say I do love all these other colors, but To Me From Me is so close to this that I don't know. Yeah, I like them all. I really do. I love them all. It's hard for me to not pick them all, but I think these are the three that just stand out to me today. So I make that probably way harder than it is, but I really want to pick my best. Obviously my opinion's probably going to be different than yours. So what were your favorites? Let me know down below. Thanks again for joining me. I totally appreciate your guys' support, and I'm so glad you're here. Don't forget to comment and like and subscribe, and we'll see you in my next review. Bye guys.